Welcome to the Book Pub Podcast. This is a podcast where we like to sip some cocktails while talking about authors. I mixed it up.
Do you mix it up every time now? You keep me on my toes so much that I'm like, you just take away that intro and run. I let you be free, free, little bird, be free.
That was Madeline.
And that's been Lesley this whole time.
And what are we talking about, Madeline?
Oh, amazing playwright and poet. And one of my favorites, August Wilson.
Woohoo!
I love it. I've
Yes.
seen so many of his plays. I can't get enough. Just a prolific storyteller. And for those of you who might not know, who don't go to the theater, there's two of his plays have been made into movies. Fences, 2 years ago,
Oh my God.
starring Denzel Washington, and
I think it was more than 2 years ago.
oh my God, really? Oh God,
I
who
don't
knows
know,
what time
maybe.
even means anymore?
What?
And because Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Oh, you're right. So Fences might have been like 4 years ago. Oh my gosh. Starring Denzel Washington, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, starring I think Viola Davis. No,
I didn't know it was made into a movie.
it was last year. That was last year's.
Oh,
That was
okay.
definitely last year's, and it had Chadwick.
Bozeman.
Boseman. I always want to say Bosman, but it's Boseman. Who also was nominated last year for an Oscar and
Yeah.
sadly did not win posthumously. But those are two movies, so check him out if you want to know his work. He is known, and they are part of a big, giant thing that I will go into more.
Nice. Yay. And then what are we drinking?
We are drinking a cocktail. I don't have a name for it, but I was doing research and I really dove into the memories of the plays and the movies that I've seen and reading all about his life, and I kind of got interested and started diving into like where he's from, and I thought, you know what, I could just sit there on so he's spoiler, from Pittsburgh. And so I was sitting there like thinking, okay, it's hot, even though I was doing this research in winter. It's hot, it's in Pittsburgh, and what do I want
To hang out
to
and
hang
drink
out
with
with August Wilson with?
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted whiskey and lemonade. And I was like, well, but I kind of want to add something fun too. So this is whiskey, lemonade, and elderflower. Now, because it is winter and I was out shopping a month ago, and I buy things for catch because I love catchy things. And I saw this whiskey, and it's this, it's called Bad Sweater. And it's like a cinnamon, it's just kind of like a Christmassy whiskey that's actually not too sweet at all. It's just kind of very spicy. So I used that, and it's not bad.
Cool. Let's give it a whirl.
Woo!
All right, l'chaim.
Hi.
Yeah, I feel like the cinnamon mixes well with like the elderflower.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
it's actually not bad. I am curious to try it with just plain whiskey, but I
Oh,
kind of
right.
liked this. This was fun, and I think it also fits August. I just also feel like if it wouldn't be great during summer. Like it's too spicy for summer.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
so it's a flexible drink that you can
I
have.
think it's perfect for like January because it's got this like like because I think of the chai, like all of the spice kind of stuff that you end up doing with Christmassy holiday sort of drinks, and so it has almost like it's the whiskey, like the spices that are in there, it's almost like a chai tea bag that's been seeping for way too long. Like it's very like subdued. It's not like whoa spices,
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I kind of went with summer because the name August makes you think of summer, but it's a flexible thing because he's flexible, and The drink's flexible, so
Yeah.
I like it with the January twist, but if you want the August twist, just do regular whiskey. But
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, I think what you could do is instead of putting it, because we have them in martini glasses or something, you could probably add like a lot more lemonade, or like add like sparkling water and put it in like a regular kind of glass with ice, and
that would be good too.
yeah,
See,
yeah.
it's just kind of one of those like something you'd want to do like as a quick pour for whatever time.
Yeah.
Whiskey, lemonade, and some elderflower.
Yeah. Good combination.
And I do have to say, we're not sponsored, so we can speak freely. The Bad Sweater whiskey was terrible by itself. It's bad by itself. And so I thought, okay, let's try mixing it with this. So that's kind of how this also got born.
Okay.
Because I was like, I need to use this whiskey because it's bad.
Yeah, there was some peanut butter whiskey that I bought a while ago because I was like, this might be fun to like, try or whatever, and it was awful. And I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm going to just hold on to this bottle and mix it into
But we used
something
that
in the
for
future.
a drink.
Did we? Actually
Yes, and
use
we
it?
did the peanut butter with the.
Oh, good. I'm glad I'm finally. I did use it.
You did, because it was for Dracula, and I was just so
right.
burnt out right then that I was like, make me something.
Okay, yeah.
And you used that, and you gave it was the liqueur, the pumpkin spice liqueur,
Oh yeah, that worked because otherwise the pumpkin or the
and you called it the peanut butter pumpkin.
peanut butter pumpkin. Yeah, sorry,
I know this
I don't
'cause I've been
remember my
making
own
lists.
drinks.
Well, I've been making lists, so I'm remembering for you right now.
I know
at
it's
this
one of those
point.
things where it's like people always ask like, "What drink did you do with this author?" And I'm like,
Well, we're making a list, and we'll check it twice, and then
gonna find out which drinks are good or
naughty
bad.
nice. Well, we'll put them out there for people, I guess, in some way.
Yeah, we'll like put it on a website or something.
Yeah.
Boop
boop boop.
Yay.
So August Wilson, born Frederick August Kittle Jr.
Ooh.
on April 27th, 1945 in Pittsburgh, shocker, Pennsylvania.
Oh my God! In the Pennsylvania Pittsburgh.
Yes, the Pennsylvania's Pittsburgh. What? It specifically was kind of raised, born, etc., associated with the Hill District.
Okay.
He was fourth of 6 children, and his dad was Sudeten, German. So he was a white dude,
Oh, interesting.
and he was an immigrant.
Cool.
And Frederick Sr. was a baker and a pastry cook. His mother, Daisy Wilson, was a strong woman who influenced much of Wilson's work. Daisy was an African American and a cleaning lady.
Okay. Baker and a cleaning lady.
Yes, and he's biracial. I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
So, the more you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of been like my catchphrase lately because I'm learning so many.
G.I. Joe.
So Wilson was actually just raised mainly by his mom. His father was predominantly absent, so not a great dad.
Yeah. Is it because he was too busy baking?
I know, I'm like,
Hopefully.
your
maybe.
dad's
Or
a
is he just
baker and a
like
pastry cook. Like, that doesn't sound like the worst dad ever,
I
but
know,
apparently he was absent.
Oh, yeah. It's like you put the kids to bed and then you go to work and then you have all the pastries for everyone in the morning.
Yeah,
and then you come back and
they
you can
come home
bring
and
your
the
kids
house
to school.
Should smell like cinnamon, and you
Yeah.
just got all these kids. I just romanticized his life, and so did you just now. But apparently it wasn't all
Oh,
cinnamon and pastries.
yeah. Frosting.
Right.
No cupcakes here.
No cupcakes here. That's so sad. Every child deserves a cupcake. Mm-hmm. They all lived in a small 2-bedroom apartment until Wilson was
Oh my God. 6 kids in 1 bedroom?
5. So,
Oh, wait, 5. I thought it was 6.
well, he lived there until he was 5.
Oh.
I was finishing the sentence. Sorry.
Sorry. 6 kids.
6 kids in this small 2-bedroom. And he was 4th of 6. So his, 1, 2, and 3
So it's like we get another
were
baby.
pretty up there.
Oh, they were older? A lot
Well,
older?
I mean, if you think about it, if he was 5,
Yeah.
Like the
I mean,
first
unless
child
they're
could have been
having
like a
kid a
teenager
year or something. Like, I don't know.
I mean, that's definitely valid. That was my grandma.
Yeah, there's people.
Yeah, she had her first 4 kids pretty much
But,
1, 2, 3,
but
4.
someone's probably at least like 13. Like,
Yeah,
at
close to like
least.
teenage. You're like, I don't really want to share this
I'm
much.
stuck in this room with this
I know,
5-year-old.
I know. And however, the
Yeah, and
next
some other
5,
in the
6
middle.
were down there too. Like,
Yeah,
so.
some babies.
Yeah. So mom and dad separated, and she remarried in the 1950s when he's, about the 5, 6 range. And this allows them to have enough money, so kind of upgrade, to move into a predominantly white working class neighborhood.
Nice.
So I shouldn't say upgrade, but what it meant is that they could have enough money for a bigger house.
She married somebody who makes more money.
Yes.
Like, and so now they can have a bigger house.
They
Yeah.
can have a bigger house with all those kids. And however, but the reason I say I shouldn't say upgrade, because they were a biracial family, and they definitely moved into a neighborhood where they started to face extreme racism
Okay.
and adversity. There was at one point a brick thrown through their window
Oh.
of their house. So just terrible things. Like, they faced crap, utter crap. So they moved out of that neighborhood, which
Good.
is sad, because it's like,
Yeah.
why can't we all just love each other? Family's cool. Keep them here. But no, so they moved.
Nope, it's the 50s.
Yes.
We don't do that.
So they moved to a different neighborhood, but still he's having to face a lot of adversity as a biracial family in the 50s
Yeah. Yeah.
in Pittsburgh.
Okay, yeah. I was going to ask if he was still in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, during the holidays or something, my mom mentioned her own, some, every once in a while she mentions her own stories of like, and it's just like, oh my gosh, the 50s sound terrible. Like, when you're, not a white person and
Yeah.
you're living somewhere and people just are like anonymously horrible, and then just really bad, even in person, like wondering
your
whether or
mom's
not you should
stories
be
were
allowed
very-
to go to this restaurant or whatever.
Yeah, your mom's stories were interesting because it was like she wasn't like so cognizant of it, but it was
Yeah.
like so it's like, is it sad because she was not cognizant of it, but it was still happening, so she wasn't aware of like the injustices that were being put upon her, and especially with the Lucy and Ricky, like, hello, that should have kind of normalized it, but it was very interesting
Yeah. Yeah.
to hear her perspective on everything. I was like fascinated. In 1959, Wilson attends Central Catholic School, and he is one of 14 African American students at that school.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
So he's underrepresented, and he drops out after a year.
Yeah, because wait, so this is probably like full, like all grades or something, and there's only 14?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Wow.
Because it just said Central Catholic School, so I'm guessing
Okay.
it's like a K-12,
Yeah.
not like high school or junior or whatever. It was that.
It's like all grades and there's only 14. There's like one per
And
grade.
in 1959, he would have been 14. So yeah, I'm guessing like it's a K-12, and he's still, but even if it was like a high school, it would still be like, this isn't cool. So he attends Connolly Vocational High School, but this high school was not a challenge enough, so he drops out.
Yeah.
So he's now been to 2 high schools. Finally, he attends Gladstone High School.
Okay, let's start over. Good.
Number
Let's go.
3. But he drops out.
Ah. Wow.
He drops out after being accused of plagiarism after writing a 20-page report on Napoleon I of France.
Okay. How did he plagiarize? They didn't have the internet back then.
I don't know. But yeah, apparently they said you're plagiarizing instead of just being like, wow, you're really smart.
Yeah. I can't
He
believe
just
you
gets-
wrote 20 pages about Napoleon.
Right? The first of France. It's like trying to think, who the hell is Napoleon I of France? So
I know. We can't find 20 pages in the library. This kid must be
I
plagiarizing.
know. So this prolific writer never attained a high school diploma.
Okay. Cool. Nice. I mean, good for future stuff. Like, it's But
just like kind of
wow.
cool. Like, yeah, he really
Damn.
paved his way. So this is kind of the focus. This man does not attain any sort of degrees or any sort of certificates, but he is one of our most well-known playwrights
Nice.
in the 20th century.
So he's totally dropped out. How old is he?
So I'm going to say he's probably 17.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Because he went to 3 different high schools,
Yeah.
right? So he's got to be around
3
17.
years. Yeah. Yeah.
So August Wilson, a high school dropout, starts working menial jobs. And I'm putting this in quote because I don't believe in the concept of menial jobs. It takes everybody to make this world work.
Yeah.
So I got this from, like the research and stuff, and it was like, okay,
Just ambiguous.
it's
menial
ambiguous
jobs.
menial jobs.
Yeah.
But some of the examples were cook, maintenance worker, etc.
Yeah.
I believe in all of those. I think they're all vital jobs. We shouldn't judge anybody's job. They're all very important. I'm off my high horse. So, quote, menial jobs. This proved to be actually his most valuable time in life because he met many people and got to know all walks of life and their stories and absorbed it. And he has an incredible memory, and he was able to identify and listen to their colloquialisms, their speech patterns, their energies, and he used these people that he had met as inspiration for all of his characters.
Nice. I'm excited to figure out how he goes from here to being a writer.
Yeah, because he's just hanging out.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going to insert the fact that August Wilson always claimed that he never wrote for any particular audience. He wrote for the Black experience. So here he is learning the Black experience. Well, he had his own version of the Black experience, and he's expanding everything. And that's what he wrote. He wrote for the Black experience.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
I thought that was beautiful. He's like, I'm just writing for this experience. I'm writing for these people I met and their stories. I'm not trying to win over any audience. Which makes him win over an audience.
How funny how that happens.
I know, right? So his mother was extremely frustrated by August and his high school dropout status.
Sure.
And it caused a lot of tension. He respected and loved his mother, but it caused a lot of tension because she knew he was smart and she wanted him to become a lawyer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd be pissed too.
Yeah. So she's
Be
like, come
"Dude,
on,
you're
kid.
so smart. You can go to school. You can do like anything.
You could be a lawyer.
Yeah. And this is like a time when it's like you could go to school and like literally just like get a job and like.
Right. So this caused a lot of tension at home. And so he left and joined the army in 1962.
What?
He
Oh,
was
okay.
in the army.
Oh, cool.
He signed up for a 3-year stint, but lasted 1.
Oh, no. Okay.
And he leaves the army and continues to find odd jobs to support himself.
Okay.
So this is where he's happy. He's like, I don't belong in school. I don't belong in the army. He just likes working odd jobs.
Yeah.
And being part of the people.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you work those jobs, then you have more time, I think, I mean, it's a different level of like exhaustion and stuff, like I get exhausted staring at a computer for too long. But it's, but I remember working things like, like I did baking and like ski school and whatever, where it's just like, it's like a physical exhaustion, and there's something almost like, oh, okay, let me do things now. Like, I want to like turn on my brain and do things because I'm like physically exhausted and I smell like blueberries and,
Right. Oh my God, I don't miss working in the service industry for that smell. But yeah, I mean, it's all part of the life experience and it's fun.
Yeah.
And I don't think like you said, like that was during a time where getting a college degree meant you would get a job right away.
Yeah.
And not float around aimlessly for years on end.
Yeah. But yeah.
But he wanted something like that would give him more.
Yeah. I remember having a mailman, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something like that. And like he was the happiest person I've ever met. Like he was just so excited. I mean, who talks to their mailman? I talk to this mailman. Like, and, you know, he was talking to me about like going to France and like doing this and that and whatever. And I'm like, you know, like, oh, you go on vacations to France? And he's like, yeah, you know, he's like, that's like the wonderful thing about my job. I just feel like I get to walk around all day and I get to like meet people and just hang out. And then when I take time off for vacation, I try to take a whole month off, and I miss meeting people. And so I end up going out. And that's the really fun part about, like, I realized I really like going on vacation because I can meet so many people that I don't see ever in my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, this guy figured life out. Like,
yeah.
You know, like he probably could he could be doing more. He could be, you know, the head of the post office or whatever. But it's like,
he's happy.
He liked walking his route and like just, you know,
being
enjoying
with
life.
the people.
Yeah.
I respect that. I respect that people just want to embrace life, and they will make the money that they need to make and be happy and survive, but connect on a much deeper level.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah,
like,
I made my money. Now
I
can go to France, or I can go to Italy or whatever, you know, it's like, I'm happy with my place. Like,
because even if you think about certain, I don't know, Amazon CEOs, how much like deep connectivity do you think they have with people?
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
So they're missing out on a huge part of life.
There's Scrooge McDucking it with like their pool of money. And
sure,
like...
he's the richest person in the world, but what connectivity does he have? What meaning does he have?
Yeah.
And so it's like, do what you need to do, but connect to people.
Yeah, it's so much nicer and more enjoyable, and like, it's worth so much more than anything. You can't put a value on it. It's not part of the barter system.
Now you guys are making me feel better about my job too. 'Cause, you know, teachers are paid not great, but we are paid in the rich experience of having the connections to students.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Leslie. I'm so happy now.
There are days where I'm a little jealous that you're like hanging out with children and I just get to like watch them on TikTok.
I love it. I love my job every day. It's so fun, but it's so weird. I have like 3 moments every single day. I'm like, my job is so weird, but in like the best way. Because I have this tic-tac-toe mat that I got at Target for like $3, and they're obsessed with it. They are obsessed. And today they're all around this, like every single one of my students. I have 24. And they're some are missing, so I'm going to say like 18 of them are surrounding this TikTok mat, and they're tic-tac-toe mat.
Tic-tac-toe, yeah, TikTok mat. I'm like, what's a TikTok mat?
Tic-tac-toe mat, and they're getting so into it. And they're all taking turns, and they're all playing tic-tac-toe. I looked over and I was like, this looks like a crapscape from the 50s.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I imagine, you know, like the little newsies, like sitting in the alley, like gambling.
Just, like, sitting there and like, oh my God, my job. And then at one point, I'm like writing something on the board, like to prepare for the day, and I hear all of a sudden this massive cheer, like someone just won like $1,000. And I was like, what is that? Like, I just love having those connections.
Yeah.
It's fun.
That's cool.
Okay, anyway, back to August.
Yes, okay. So
now that we're all feeling good.
Mom wants him to be a lawyer. He's like, I'm not doing that shit. And, I
just want to support myself and be happy.
Hang out with people.
Yeah. So, in 1965, so he is 20, his father dies. And this is when he changes his last name to Wilson to honor his mother, because his mother's maiden name was Wilson.
This is my real father.
My father's my mother, my mother's my father.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a weird...
So, now this is when he officially becomes August Wilson.
Okay.
Middle name, August. Last name now changed to Wilson.
Nice.
In this year, Wilson buys a typewriter that was stolen for $10.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
And he just kind of decides
Do we know
that
what type of typewriter it was? It was 1965.
What?
Do we know what type of typewriter it was?
I didn't.
Oh, I know. That's like such a stupid detail, but
I should have.
I wonder if it was the same one I have, because my typewriter's from 1965.
I'll double check, and then we can add it in like footnotes or whatever. So his was stolen, and he got it for $10.
Okay, yeah.
Which in 1965 isn't nothing to sneeze at, but it's also not that much money.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And he decides he's destined to be a writer.
Nice. Just
He just ups and says, you know
I
what?
got a typewriter and this is my tool.
He was probably just like casually writing, like journaling or whatever, and just says, you know what? I want to be a writer. And,
yeah, I like this. This is fun.
right? This is great. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So between his odd jobs, he spends time writing in cafes, bars, and cigar stores.
Oh my God. He is the first of like those Apple computer, like Starbucks swilling like dudes who sit in like the coffee shop or the bar writing on their laptop. And
Right?
but he's sitting there with a typewriter.
Well,
That's
wait for
awesome.
it. Wait for it.
Okay.
Wait for it. So I loved the cigar stories, though.
Okay.
I loved it. I was like, cafes, bars, hipster, cigar stores. I'm like, cool. Into it.
Okay.
And yes, so very typical of these hipsters.
I didn't know they were always doing that. I didn't know that was like always a thing. Like,
yeah, apparently.
sit in a coffee shop and write.
I mean,
write your
Ernest Hemingway did
screenplay.
it too, but, August Wilson's like legit.
Yeah.
He's listening to the conversations around him and incorporates their conversations and inspires him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I used to write down all of the conversations and like funny things that people said, like in a journal. My neighbor, when we would carpool, like he was always saying like funny things, and so I'd be writing it down, and he'd always like after we would get to school or whatever, he'd be like, "So what did I say that you wrote down today?"
It's a little egotistical, but I love it.
But yeah, it was like, well, it's not false. Like
It's not false, but but that's my brain doesn't want to go to the 1920s. Great Gatsby, F. Scott Fitzgerald,
Yeah.
wrote a biography, and he incorporated bits of conversation.
Nice.
I'll have to give you the name of the book.
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank on the name of the book.
Cool.
I have it. It's water damaged beyond recognition right now, but I would love to repurchase the book and reread it. But it's kind of one of those cool. So he's telling his like own story and then inserts conversation. And I thought, yeah, that's kind of what he did, but he takes it and he fictionalizes it. He's not like making an autobiography.
Right.
He like incorporates it into his
Like
writing.
this is a funny thing that somebody has said, and I can use this as dialogue for a character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
However, so you know how he's like on his typewriter? He actually wasn't in these locations.
What? Twist.
He had, like I kind of mentioned earlier, he has an incredible memory. So what he would do is just sit there and hang out and write it all down on cocktail napkins.
Oh my gosh, I love him so much. When I can't find something to write on and I really need it to write something down. Now you have your phone and the stupid notes, app or whatever.
Yeah.
But I used to write down on napkins all the time because it was like, I need to write this down right now.
He's like your spirit animal. Yeah, so he would sit there and write on cocktail napkins and then take those home and write it on the typewriter.
Nice. Oh, yes.
He claimed that by doing this, it helped him to make him feel less self-conscious about writing in public. So no one would be like, oh, what you writing? What's going on?
Oh, so he just looks like a barfly, and then it's just like
casually writing.
Yeah, you put your
no
arm
one's thinking
around.
About it. Yeah, no one's thinking about it. Instead of like a giant typewriter in the middle of this bar or cigar store.
Yeah, I was thinking that was weird.
So this was like, he was so cool before it was even cool to be cool.
No, oh my gosh. Yeah, exactly. He would be the guy, if it was today, he would be like pulling out his phone and making it look like he's like sending a text, but he's like really writing down what these people just said.
Yep. Exactly. In 1969, Wilson marries a Miss Brenda Burton.
Brenda Burton.
Miss Brenda Burton.
I imagine her being a school teacher.
She's a Muslim.
Oh.
And he converts to
Muslimism. Islamism.
I
used to be able to get it right, and then I forgot because we're no longer at war.
So he converts to the
because I like to like
faith.
I used to like to
I love
school other people and then about it. And now I'm like, oh shoot, it's been a while.
Yeah, you haven't been able to.
Yeah,
that's my art history background. I could because I had to take like religious art classes, and so I took Islamic art classes, and we learned a lot about it. But
Nice. Like how like Afghanistan is really like West Asia.
yeah,
I love telling people that too.
well, yeah, the fact that
It's like,
Afghanistan,
it's not the Middle East, actually.
well, because it was a part of India for,
Yeah, that's why it's like,
centuries.
actually, it's West Asia.
but it's a beautiful country that I want to go to so badly.
Yeah.
Anyway, because of art, like I
Yes.
want to go see Afghanistan art, Indian art, but in that part of India, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's all part of cool. Anyway, sorry, I'm like
so
putting my
Islam.
foot in my mouth.
He converts to Islam.
He is. So, so he's kind of just like casually writing. You think about this. He's like it's 1969. He's 25 years old. He's hanging out in bars. He's writing. He's working menial jobs. And then he meets Brenda and they get married. And this is 1969. And he's now a Muslim. Mm-hmm. And they have one daughter, just as a side note. And she also introduces him to the Nation of Islam and the Black Power movement.
Nice.
So this kind of starts to influence him so he's now become less casual of like
Okay.
the Black experience.
Like in just writing it, and
He's starting to have like sides of like his story being like his own personal story is starting to grow because he's seeing like the Black Power movement. He's seeing the Nation of Islam. He's like, whoa, the world is huge. Like he's still in Pittsburgh. Like he hasn't left Pittsburgh. He's still there.
my
So he's
God,
like,
right.
his world is really growing. Like here's this like high school dropout who's just growing his world exponentially and finding other stories and other points of view and ways to think about things. And he's writing and he's casually writing with people who come into cigar stores to now like probably going to meetings for the Black Power movement.
Yeah. Even more people and even more. And then like finding things on a political level as opposed to just on a social one or an anthropological one.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
So around this time, 1968, 1969, Wilson and his friend Rob Penny decide to co-found the Black Horizon Theater. So they just all of a sudden out of nowhere were like, theater.
Let's do
Theater's what's up. Mm-hmm. You know, let's get the art word out there. Mm-hmm. And he's like, cool, I'm just like writing things. Like he wasn't writing like plays or anything. He was just
scribbling.
actually he was writing a lot of poetry.
Oh, cool. Okay.
He never really had a lot of his poetry published until after his death. Like that's when they found a lot of his poetry.
Well, it makes sense that then he would move into theater. I just feel like that seems so much more natural than people realize.
Because there's a lot of poetry.
Yeah. Like I feel like it's because when people write books and stories and stuff, there's so much not dialogue happening, and poetry is it's like abstract art, you know. It's so much more fluid, you know. There's so much like almost physicality to poetry that like some poems look really good on paper but don't sound really good out loud. Some poems it's the opposite, where they sound really good out loud but they don't really look great on paper. And I feel like that is so much more similar to a theater, you know, and writing a play, you know, things that need to be physicalized as opposed to like a story. Like, you know, you see it all the time with like
adaptations.
And like people who write novels who they
someone-
can't write screenplays or they can't write, you know, plays because they're just like, I don't really understand dialogue. I've always had issues. I'm really nervous about writing dialogue.
Yeah.
And
But even like you said, like the stories themselves, like it's a great story, but it doesn't translate well to
like
visualizations. Or if you take a movie and you try to make a book out of it, like, this is really dumb.
Yeah, because there's such a different experience. Like the way that you describe like a battle scene or something in a book, you know, you need to adrenalize your audience in a different way about like, you know, the sweat and this and that, you know, these little details that you can't put on film. Like you can't put that on a stage. Like it has to be in writing, and that, you know, and so to bring it into a different place, it has to be it can't be, you know, like verbatim done the right way. It has to be, you know, changed in a way that like will like viscerally affect that audience in the same way that it viscerally affected this audience. You
Yep.
know?
Oh, I agree. Lord of the Rings, though, did translate well.
Yeah, I thought so. Although a lot of Gen Xers disagree with us.
Come on, get off your high horse, Gen X. It's okay. We have our own things.
Yeah.
So, the theater world.
Theater!
Their first play that they produced was Recycling.
They recycled their first play?
No, it's called Recycling, and I don't know why I didn't write the author down, but I didn't.
Okay, cool.
Oh, shame on me.
Cool.
So it's called Recycling. But Wilson had no theater, zero theater or directing experience. So he went and found a book at the library called The Fundamentals of Directing.
Oh, cool. Oh, I think I've read that book.
He is a self-taught theater person.
Nice.
No experience.
You know, that is just so cool.
That's his
though.
life, though.
Yeah.
He has no degree, no nothing, no trainings, nothing, and he just is 100% self-taught.
Maybe, you know, he probably would have really benefited from like those like half school programs where you're supposed to do a lot of the education on your own. Like, so it's kind of like homeschooling, but not quite.
Yeah.
Like,
He
because,
could've.
yeah, where it's just like, here's the curriculum for the year. You figure it out. You know, you have like 6 months to deal with this. And I feel, you know, because it's like, yeah, like how cool. Like someone who dropped out of school a bunch of times and, you know, whatever you want to imbue on why people drop out of school, but like he's like, oh no, I understand the idea that like to practice something I need an education behind it, you know, not a general education, but like for this specific thing, you know, like,
Yeah.
hey, if I want to do my taxes, maybe I should learn a little accounting, you know.
Right? A little bit.
Not just be like, okay, yeah, I'll take these forms and just fill them out.
But he's amazing that he's so self-taught. So like he's just like that's what he said. Like, I didn't know, so I just went and found a book.
Yeah.
So like,
so
I
cool.
respect you so much.
As opposed to like, I've watched some movies. I think I get it.
Right?
I went to a
I'm
couple
so good.
plays. I think I understand how directing works.
I played a doctor on TV so I can be a doctor in real life. No. While working in this theater company, he writes Jitney.
Okay, cool.
And that's one of his first plays, which is produced and performed there. In 1976, Wilson sees his first professional play, Sizwe Bonzi is Dead. Now, I dove really hard into this play. It's fabulous. I could not figure out at what point how to say Sizwe Bonzi. Like, I'm butchering this and I do apologize it, but I watched like 9 clips of the play performed on Broadway. I read the Wikipedia page. Like, I tried so hard to figure out how to pronounce
How
this.
are people pronouncing? How is it?
I was like, that was a rabbit hole of like 45 minutes of my life that I'm like so glad I went down, but at the same time did not yield what I needed.
Nice.
Which is, how do you say this name? So it's a really heavy play, but good. Like, from what I saw, oh my God, really good.
Nice. Okay.
And this inspires him more about the professional theater world. So he's like, oh, okay, so we've done our little theater company. Not little, but we've done our theater company. I want to grow bigger. So with that, 1976 is when he sees the play. In 1978, his friend Claude Purdy suggests that he moves to St. Paul, Minnesota.
What?
For
Why?
theater and writing.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. This is still the 70s? Like,
Which apparently the theater world in St. Paul was good.
that's weird. That's like saying, you know, you should move to Denver, Colorado if you want to do more theater.
Yeah, but Denver's got a lot of good theater.
I mean, but still, really, though, like, it's like, out of all the things to say, it's, I mean, yeah, if you maybe live in like Boulder, maybe you should move to Denver. But like, if you already live in a big city, it's kind of, I don't know, my ignorance of some sort, but like, I just feel like, wouldn't you suggest like New York or maybe Boston?
I don't know. Because this was very...
some place where like Chicago, where like places that are like legitimately well known for theater, like all the time, always. Like,
this ended up being a very
St.
affluent...
Paul, Minnesota.
But this ended up being an affluent it helped his career a lot. Like, it skyrocketed his career. So I do wonder if St. Paul was like a good theater scene.
Okay. Yeah. Like for
Like, we don't know. In the 70s, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. People were doing like their workshops or something for
Yeah.
plays that ended up going elsewhere later, or
Something? I don't
because
know.
like right now, like DC and stuff is known for like Broadway plays, or like the Old Globe in San Diego. People will like do a test run for shows. Like that's where I saw Almost Famous, which hopefully will still end up on Broadway one of these days. Like it should end up this season. I don't know. And but it's like there's places like that yeah, when you wouldn't expect
Go
really
to San
good.
Diego to start your theater career.
Yeah, exactly.
But you would, kind
Yeah.
of a thing. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So
All
maybe
right.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Claude helps him get a job writing educational scripts for the Science Museum in Minnesota.
Okay.
Wilson receives a fellowship in Minneapolis for theater writing and theater production
Cool.
and theater stuff.
Who says you need an education?
Exactly. So he gets his fellowship. So he ultimately quits the museum job after 1981. So, again, he's just like, I don't want to write scripts for a science museum.
Yeah.
And he is able to...
Galileo.
Go! So he's able to focus on playwriting and theater with this fellowship, though he still has to work some odd jobs, mainly as a cook for the Little Brothers of the Poor to help up supplement income.
Okay.
Wilson builds a relationship with Penumbra Theater Company of St. Paul. And during this time, he's building this relationship. He starts to write plays.
Nice.
And he rewrites Jitney, which was performed in 1982. He writes Ma Rainey's Black Bottom in 1984, which this play is what gains him mass recognition. Like, it puts him on the theater map. The play was initially accepted as at a playwright conference where in like Pennsylvania or one of the East Coast states. I think it was Massachusetts or something.
Boston.
I think it was like outside of Boston.
Okay.
This is where he befriends one Lloyd Richards, who is the dean of Yale Theater School. Ooh. And so he builds this relationship with the dean of the theater school at Yale. And so they bring his plays out from St. Paul and kind of get it on this circuit. And so this is Ma Rainey's is what gives him like, oh, here's this new playwright. You got to pay attention to this new playwright. Have you heard of this new playwright? Kind of a thing.
Okay.
So just because it's not just in St. Paul. It's like, boom, everywhere. And it gets them on Broadway, off Broadway. And then, so that's 84. 82 is Jitney. 84 is Fences. 87, Ma Rainey's is 84. 87, He writes Fences.
Nice.
And this earns him his first Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah, y'all.
So Fences is actually a Pulitzer Prize winning play.
Of course. It should be.
It's so great.
It's King Lear with a baseball bat.
Oh my God. It's so deep and amazing. I love it so much. Then he realizes that he has now started to write 3 different plays in 3 different decades. So...
Oh, like they're based in different...
3 different, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's done 3 different plays in 3 different decades.
Yeah.
About the Black experience. Mm-hmm. So he says, quote, why not continue to do that? Nice. And that is when the Pittsburgh Century Cycle, whatever you want to call it, is born. And this is why I love August Wilson, because that is what he's known for. And this is what I've been waiting for since the beginning. He's known for what is called the Century Cycle, or the Pittsburgh Cycle. And he wrote The Black Experience, a play set in each decade that depicted what was happening to Black lives during these in America in each of these decades.
Yeah.
And it kind of brings in perspectives of these decades.
Yeah.
So, for example, Fences, I think, is the 50s.
Yeah, I think it's the 50s.
That's
why I'm actually surprised. I mean, I feel like I just kind of assumed he started writing a lot earlier. I didn't realize that it didn't come out until the 80s.
Yeah. No, it didn't.
So, yeah, because I think it's the 50s that one.
Okay, here we go. I took a picture. So, Ma Rainey's is the 20s, and Fences is the 50s, and Jitney is the 70s.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, I love Jitney. Tears of goodness and sadness and everything.
All the good tears. All the type of tears.
So I'm going to just kind of spin off of the Pittsburgh cycle. It's a series of 10 plays, 9 of which are set in Pittsburgh and mainly in the Hill District. Not mainly, but in the Hill District. Each play is set in a different decade to portray the African-American experience of that time. There are no serial connections, so you can watch it in any order. Though I do think it would be fun to watch it in order.
Which order? The order that they were written in, or the order that they chronologically go in based off?
Well,
of
I have it all, so I could do it. I would like to watch it chronologically of like when it's supposed to
like
take place.
1920s, 1930s, et cetera.
So
et cetera.
1900s all the way to the 1990s.
Yeah.
So I would love to watch that in order, in chronological order, not release date order. But there are characters that kind of flow in and out, kind of a thing. So just like little gems.
Side characters.
Yeah. So he writes Jitney first, Ma Rainey's, and Fences. So that's 70s, 20s, and 50s. And then he's like, let's keep going with this.
I love that, as opposed to like setting out like, I want to write about the Black experience in this one particular town throughout the decades, and this is how I'm going to do it. Instead, it was like, I already wrote these stories. I can see a correlation between them. That's interesting. Maybe I can find other stories that fit in between these, things, and kind of go with this whole like theme, or not, it's not, time periods are not a theme. I can go with this whole idea of time periods. Apparently, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I like that came second after writing things.
Yes, exactly. I love that. He's just like, cool, let's do it. And the fluidity of it all. Mm-hmm. Like I said, though, that 9 out of the 10, Ma Rainey's is the only one that actually takes place in Chicago. So even though that's the second one, he still is like, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, it can
Whatever.
be Pittsburgh. I mean, it's kind of Pittsburgh to a lot of people, like, I guess. Like,
even though they're like thousands of miles apart.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like those flyover states, As someone born in Chicago.
I know, you're born in Chicago. Illinois is actually very not much of a flyover state. And Pennsylvania is a huge state.
Whatever. Those people in California and New York won't know the difference.
Okay. So, just to kind of show you, I will do the plays in their chronological order really fast. Release date goes Jitney, 1982, Ma Rainey, 84, Fences, 85, Joan Turner's Come and Gone, 86, The Piano Lesson, 87, 1990, Two Trains Running, 1995, Seven Guitars, 99, King Hedley, 2003, Gem of the Ocean, 2005, Radio Golf. They're all back. Like, he spits these out for the most part.
Well, yeah, there's a little gap in there between 86 and 1990.
Well, 87, it goes 86, 87 to 90, so that's even just 3 years. And then 5 years, 90 to 95 is 3 years, or 5 years. Then 95 to 99 is 4 years. But he's pretty much like, keeps it going.
Yeah.
But to do it in chronological order, you've got Gem of the Ocean is the Black experience from the 1900s. Then you've got Joe Turner's Come and Gone from the 1910s. You've got Ma Rainey's Black Bottom from the 1920s. The Piano Lesson, which is 30s. Then you've got Seven Guitars from the 1940s. Fences, 1950s. Two Trains Runnin' from the 60s, which is also one of my all-time favorites. So much. Jitney from the 1970s. And then you have the 1980s with King Hedley II. And then 1990s Radio Golf.
Nice. Okay.
So just as fun thing for you on that one.
Okay.
In case anyone was curious.
Yeah. Well, let's just Google it.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
So he continues with the Pittsburgh cycle. He's hanging out in Minnesota. He continues with writing Joe Turner's Come and Gone, 86, and Piano Lessons in 87. And Piano Lessons earns him his
second Pulitzer
Prize.
Ding, ding, ding.
So he is a 2-time Pulitzer Prize winning playwright that does not have a high school diploma or any theater training.
Hey.
In 1990...
Way to be, like, super Shakespeare about it. Like,
I know! That's what I always say. It's like, August Wilson's kind of like the modern Black Shakespeare.
In, like, 100 years, I wouldn't be surprised if there's conspiracy theories that are like, August Wilson didn't write August Wilson.
Exactly, right? So,
How could this high school dropout write this stuff?
the son of a baker.
Yeah, exactly, right? Son of a farmer. Like, that's Shakespeare.
Well, son of a glove maker. But anyway.
Yeah. But, farm. The small town, whatever. Blah.
Yeah.
These people can't write things and be amazing and win awards. It has to be like some collective of people that figured out this conspiracy to like create a person.
So in 1990, after divorcing his second wife,
Oh, wow.
he moves to Seattle.
What? Oh, Jesus. Where? What? I thought he'd be in New York by now.
Oh, my
That's
God.
where his theater is.
Seattle has a huge theater scene.
I mean, I guess that makes sense.
They've got a
It's just
really
very interesting.
big
I felt like he
theater
was
scene.
starting to inch his way, and then now it's like, what? Now we're on the West Coast?
Yeah, no, this was, again, a really great one. Again, New York is, like, known for it because it's, like, just known for it, but Seattle's got huge, like, I've known a lot of theater people who go to Seattle to
Drink coffee and watch theater?
to try and develop their theater careers, and it's
okay.
huge up there. It's huge up there. That's why the only job I was able to get was in theater. Couldn't get any other job. So while there, he develops a relationship with Seattle rep, which
Okay.
I felt really good about because I had an interview with Seattle rep. I just felt really good. And then the pandemic
Oh my God,
hit.
we're the same person!
I know! I was like, oh my God, stop it! I got really excited. But then the pandemic hit, so I couldn't
work for them.
But
Because there wasn't theater.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it was like, I freaked the F out. I was like, oh my God.
Marcus Wilson works for you guys?
I had an interview for their education department. It's fine.
It was theater. You're going to be a director.
Yes. Who knows what could have happened, but still. I was like, it's all the same. We had umbrellas, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. I really was excited. And they were the first to produce his entire Pittsburgh slash Century cycle.
Cool.
And his one-man show.
What?
Which is entitled How I Learned What I Learned.
Oh, I thought that was a biography.
It's his one-man show.
Cool. Oh, that's cool.
And while working there, he meets his third wife, who is
Nice.
a makeup artist for the theater.
Nice.
So he continues to write plays and produce his theater and living the Seattle lifestyle.
Drinking a lot of coffee.
Drinking coffee, showing up for plays.
Bitching about the rain.
Go preach. And his plays are getting worldwide. And in 2005, he produces his last play with a side diagnosis of liver cancer.
Oh, wow.
He is given 5 months to live.
Wait, what is his last play?
One of the Kentucky cycles. I think it was Fences.
The Kentucky Cycles.
I'm
I'm like, I have not heard of this. Please explain.
the Pittsburgh / Century cycle.
Is Colonel
My bad.
Sanders there?
All of his flavors.
This is all of his plays redone with a chicken fried
Mashed potatoes,
Yeah, exactly. Theme.
No, I can't believe I said
It's like Pride and Prejudice and zombies, but like instead we
like-
add in like Colonel
But
Sanders.
there's going to be like exponentially much more amount of racism. So this just made it really bad.
This is when we
There's
learn we're
already like
racist.
enough in it, but like great.
Everyone's in like red and white uniforms.
Oh God. Shaped somewhat like buckets. Anyway, he produces his last play and he is diagnosed with liver cancer. He's given 5 months to live and basically dies 5 months later on October 2nd, 2005 at Swedish Medical in Seattle.
Wow.
However, he is buried in Pittsburgh.
Well, that makes sense.
So, that is the story of August Wilson. In reading this, I have to do my little side spiel.
Yes, your epilogue.
My epilogue. So I loved this because I have been going, as you know, to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in Ashland, Oregon since 1999, 2000. And that's where we first saw 2000. And that's where we saw our first, and we saw Gem of the Ocean first. And it's so weird to think like, oh, I'm watching this play, I'm falling in love with this play, and this playwright, and he was still alive at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2002 or 2003 that we saw Gem of the Ocean. And we fell in love with him. So then every single time Ashland, Oregon puts on one of August Wilson's plays, it was like we were there. Ma Rainey's, Jitney, 2 Trains Running, like Fences, we were there. It was like, oh my gosh, love him. I want to see I want to see every single one of his plays. Like I want to complete the August Wilson canon.
Yeah.
But I had really no idea anything about him until I did this research. And knowing that Ashland, Oregon, which is very close to, it's about 9 hours to Seattle, I was like, that is really cool that they were able to take someone who was quote unquote more local, and bring it down and perform this while he's still up there and he's right there.
Right.
And yeah, we just became hardcore fans. And I actually remember when he died, because it was like the next year we were in Ashland and we were really sad. But right after then, that is when they found all of these hidden poems. And then Ashland was able to put on this really unique experience of his poetry and kind of pay homage to him. And I was like, he kind of just feels like I feel like a connection to him.
Yeah.
And I just love that connection.
I love that. I really do.
And he hit Seattle and he just kind of hit his stride and was doing what he loved to do, and he didn't feel like he needed to do any more. He was doing what he loved, and he was married to his 3rd wife who he died with, and fun stuff.
I think that's super cool, because I don't know, I guess I always thought that he was like in New York at some point,
but granted, he did die kind of young.
45,
70.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
45 to 2005.
Yeah, but
70.
he was born in the 40s, so I don't know. Well, yeah,
but
maybe it's pretty,
So who knows what would have else happened, but he was also 70, so who also would have known what else happened. From like 19, because he literally moved in 1990, so for 15 years he's just hanging out in Seattle.
That is so cool. Like, that is just not I never saw that as being a part of his, like,
he was a Seattle guy.
That's
like,
cool.
Go Seattle. Not Seahawks. Yeah. Screw the Seahawks. I hate the Seahawks. Sorry, not cussing, but
you didn't cuss. You said screw. So you might mean like literally to turn a, corkular like
screw into their sides.
Yeah.
The 12th man.
Screw. That might be a little worse, actually.
I know, it's a little violent. I just really don't like the Seahawks.
But yeah, that's so
cool. I lived
in
Seattle for too long to like the Seahawks. And not from Seattle. You can only like the Seahawks if you're from Seattle. Anyway, I'm
and even then, I don't know. And he has a theater named after him in New York.
Yes, and there's a theater named after him in New York.
It's one of the Broadway theaters.
And
in
San Diego? I thought I read that somewhere.
I don't know. I don't know if there's like an actual, I feel bad if there, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a theater company and then they use other facilities and stuff.
Okay, so I thought I read that, but I maybe missed it. So I just love this story of this prolific, amazing playwright who found his stride in life and has no training, no degree, and just lived and created something beautiful. So as a reminder to those who are struggling with college degrees in this post-college world that you just cannot find anything, find your stride and make something of it. And that's all that matters. Like, that's seriously all that matters. Fun facts?
Find the thing that you love and let it kill you, as Charles Bukowski would put.
Yes, right? Oh my god. Right? Charles and August probably would have been,
I don't know. I mean, Charles is kind of a big old drunk weirdo. But they both like poetry, so, maybe they'd have.
But August Wilson wasn't really proud of his poetry because of the whole, like, hidden...
But then like, Bukowski would be like, no, dude, just, like, let people see it. Like, yeah.
Are we ready for the fun facts?
Yes, fun facts. Oh, you did fun facts? Oh, wait, you always do fun facts. I was thinking you did quotes and I did fun... Never mind. I don't know who I am.
I incorporate my quotes into it. You do, like, quotes at the end. I do quotes. I should start doing more quotes. Okay. But I just love my fun facts.
Yes,
I'm like,
fun facts.
So he learned to read at 4.
Cool.
Self-taught to read.
Obviously.
At 4.
Nice.
He has an honorary high school diploma from Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh because of their extensive use of their library.
Aww.
So they're like, you came here so much. Here's a high school diploma.
I mean, he won a Pulitzer Prize. I feel like a lot of people should just be like, here, take a degree.
Here's some sort of degree, even if it makes us look good and you don't really care.
Yeah. You don't need it to get a job anymore. Like, you're fine.
Yeah. This one I did for you because I knew you'd like this. He pawned his typewriter often when money was tight.
Oh my God. And then he'd just like buy it back. Mm-hmm. Love it. Mm-hmm. Oh God. I love it. One. That's so funny. Yeah, because like one of my favorite stories of like a film that we had in our film festival was that like they bought all of their equipment from Best Buy, you know, like because you can return things, I guess, at Best Buy before 90 days and get your money back. And so they would return it before the 90 days was up and then rebuy that same equipment. It's like, and that's how they made a movie for like only like $3,000 or something instead of costing them like $10,000.
Love it, right?
Like, that is amazing.
Gotta love it.
I know.
He founded the Kuntu Writers Workshop to bring African American writers together to assist in publication and production. This is still active today.
Cool. Yes.
Listeners, keep that in mind. August Wilson Day in Minnesota is May 27th. So there is a August Wilson Day. And this is to honor one of the few, my side thought, if any, Pulitzer Prize winners from there. I'm like typing this out. One of the few Pulitzer Prize winners.
I'm like, how many are from?
So I just do brackets, if any.
Yeah. Didn't Prince win a Pulitzer Prize?
What do you win a Pulitzer Prize?
No, he would not have won a Pulitzer Prize. I don't think you could get a Pulitzer Prize.
I like
for
though
music.
too that two famous people that we know from Minnesota are black.
It's the only people I know from Minnesota.
It's real. I know a lot of people from Minnesota, but the famous people.
Yeah, I don't think I could name a single other person who's from Minnesota.
My cousins.
Okay.
Cousins are out there in Minnesota land. He has also earned a honorable doctorate.
Nice.
From the University of Pittsburgh. And they gave him a doctorate in humanities.
Just general humanities. Who says you can't do anything without a general degree?
Right? So, like, University of Pittsburgh's like, here's a doctorate.
Yeah. I think, like...
I can, like, see, like, thanks. Like, I really don't care. I've made so much of my life. I don't need your honorary doctorate or your honorary high school diploma. But at the same time, it's flattering.
I know. I feel like they always give those to people who, like, don't need it. You know, it is just a thing for the school to be able to, like, let's pat ourselves on the back because, like, you know, Oprah or Nicolas Cage graduated from here technically on an honorary degree. You know what I mean? Like, so they can, like, add it to their alumni list on some level or something. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, it's just...
But, like, these are still honoring, like, a person that deserved it, but at the same time he's like, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can't do anything at this point. If you're giving me an honorary, if you are at a level where someone's giving you an honorary degree, like at that point you don't need it. Like,
no, it's just a piece of paper to be like,
yeah,
yay.
I mean, I would say though, honestly, maybe like with people who haven't had any sort of degree, that might be a little bit more like, isn't that nice that like people are recognizing the fact that you lived a life that is worthy of saying that you graduated even if you didn't graduate from somewhere. Yep. Like that's kind of cool. But otherwise, I just always feel like it feels very
forced.
Yeah, it's like the stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Like, you know, those people like fill out applications and pay for those things themselves. Like, It just feels so stupid when I hear like, oh, this actor got a Hollywood star. And I'm like, nobody voted on this. This isn't something Hollywood decided on. They literally asked if they could have a star. And then they gave the person a bunch of money and then they got a star.
Versus like the Grauman's Theater where you got to like put your hand in.
Yeah, because
that was
you have
cool.
some cool movie premiering and it was like, oh my God, yes, let's get Frank Sinatra's hands in cement.
Yeah.
You know?
My last fun fact is that Fences, the movie, almost never happened.
What? Why?
Because when it initially was in works to be a movie, they didn't have a black director. And August Wilson said, I refuse to let this movie be directed by anyone who's not black.
Good for him.
You need to have a black director to help tell the black story of this time. And it didn't happen. Until 5 years ago, finally they get a black director to get in and help fences be made to help tell the true, authentic story, which then makes it a film that is nominated for an Oscar, which wins August Wilson a Oscar for Best Screenplay or Best Story inspired by a screenplay or whatever it is, posthumously. So he
good.
also has an Oscar.
Okay,
Beyond the
so
Grave.
looking it up, so he wrote the screenplay.
And so he has an Oscar for that screenplay.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about this because I feel like there's plenty of people that they probably could have gotten, but Denzel Washington directed it.
Oh, and he starred in it.
Yeah. And
Well,
I'm like, I mean, like,
I don't know
how I feel about
I'm
that.
not usually a fan of like
I don't like
acting,
actors directing,
directing.
especially when they're starring roles and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's just like, it's also like he asked for a black director and like literally the only person you could get is Denzel Washington. Like,
But he did such a great job. He did.
Yes,
Like the movie
it's
is
fine.
fabulous, so
Yeah.
it's like he is awesome. But yeah, so that's. But
I
he still won an Oscar, so that's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
yeah, no,
That
that
eventually did happen.
that's cool.
An Oscar.
That's cool that August Wilson won an Oscar.
Yeah, for a screenplay he wrote like decades prior to the film.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say that's it, and that's just why I want to have lemonade and whiskey and
Hang
something
out.
sweet, and hang out and talk to a really amazing person. So August, Lordy, I wish you were here when I was older so that I could just be like fangirling all over you right now. So that's my story.
Yay.
Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns? And do you agree on the cocktail choice to sit there with him?
I like it. Yeah, I think it's a really good cocktail to hang out with him, especially kind of learning more of like the fact that he hung out in Seattle and Minnesota and these places that are a little bit colder. So it's like, oh, that works to have something that like feels a little like that can warm you up. Like there's whiskey, there's like the spices, but it definitely has like a cold weathery kind of theme to it. But it's a drink that you drink when you imagine those days in the summer that you will get to soon.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's the one that gives you hope for the summer.
Yeah.
It gives you hope for August.
Yeah.
That's the name of the drink. Hope for August.
Yes, exactly. I like it. Hope for August.
Hope for August.
Perfect. I love when we come up with names at the very end
Right.
for our drinks where I was like, I don't know what this name should be.
I know. And this is why the list is actually taking a lot longer because we come up with it at the end. So I have to like listen to the entire episode
No.
waiting for the name of the drink.
Which sometimes does not happen.
Oh, yeah. Then you get to the end of it and you're like, well, there was no name. Next.
But you enjoyed your ride.
Yes, exactly.
Well, fun. Follow us on Instagram,
TikTok.
on TikTok, and
We'll email you because, you know, millennials.
yeah, I'll send you a pigeon carrier message once I trained all my pigeons.
I'll send light signals.
It'll probably be a crow, not a pigeon.
Crows are better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that's it.
Bye.
Bye.